And so I forget who it was, might have been Little Ian, to drive me to the airport I left on like Wednesday or something like that, because I was like, I can't stick around till the end of the run because I don't think I want to stay here that many days. Plus I feel like I'm getting everyone's way, but that's whatever. So I booked my ticket. So he took me to the airport. I'm like, great, see you later. And I walk in the airport and I walk up to the counter and I'm like, yeah, so I'm here for my flight, which is at like whenever it was going to be in the evening. It's like the last flight out or something. And they're like, we don't have you on this flight. And I'm like, but I reserved my ticket. I have it right here. And they looked and like, what's your name? And they look it up and like, you were on last night's flight. Oh! I was 23 and a half hours late for my flight.
Oh boy.
That's Desert Bus.
And at the time I didn't have any income. So I was like, did I just lose my ticket? Oh no, how do I? And I'm like, I'm sorry. I wasn't here because, and I explained the whole thing about Desert Bus and like this charity fundraiser, and I've been busy, but I've been working overnight shifts, so I had my sleep entirely screwed up. I forgot what day it was. Is there any way I can get home? And they said, yeah, we got a flight leaving in like, in a half hour, like the same flight. We have that flight leaving in a half hour. I'm like, is there any space on it? Like, yeah. In fact, what we'll do is we'll just charge you $50 to change your ticket from last night to tonight.
Yes! Hallelujah!
You bet compassionate airline people if you had to have been at the Victoria Airport.
Yeah.
Where it's too small for anyone to hate anybody.
And it's the middle of the night and there's like nobody around. It's like, of course, we can fly you out of here. We can do whatever you need. And I'm like, yeah, and thank you WestJet for doing that for me.
Oh yeah, but also
like
WestJet.
The opposite experience that we had when we were at the Midwest Media Expo a few years ago in Detroit, where we showed up at the airport because after the con, the expo people were like, yeah, we'll transport you to and from the airport, and they sent us on a limo to the airport.
And they were like, where are you flying? We're like, we have to fly out of Detroit to Toronto. They're like, yeah, don't worry, it's not that busy in the middle of the day like this, so you can leave and you only need about an hour. We're like, it's international. You're like, no, you only need about an hour. We'd like to leave earlier. Okay, you can leave earlier if you want, but you really only need about an hour.
Yeah, anyways, we put ourselves in the capable hands of the con organizers, and they get us to the airport, and we go up to the Delta ticket agent, and she's like, well, check-in on an international flight is 2 hours before, and now it's 90 minutes before, so you can't get on the plane.
What?
And we're like, is there anything you can do for us? And she's like, no.
We're 90 minutes early.
Yeah.
And like, could we speak to a manager? And she's like, if you think that will make you feel better, sure, I can get you a manager.
Welcome to American.
Yeah.
It was it was slammed at that time of day in the middle of the airport. Yeah. But the attitude was astounding because
she was just like, no, you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, might as well just live here now.
That happens more often than not. Like,
it's not the airline.
Fortunately for me, I've never really had a whole lot of
exactly
with that because I could just slam my military ID down and it was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll see past that.
So
we ended up we ended up getting another agent to take us over to this older guy who was working behind whatever. He's like, and he starts doing a bunch of stuff on the computer. Zero input. Like he's not asking us for anything. And we're kind of all standing there, and I think Graham kind of knew what was going on, but the rest of us were just like, we're just standing here.
And I was just sitting there like, no, the con, like, they were responsible for getting us to the airport on time.
Yeah.
And this is going to get fixed one way or another. Yeah. Maybe I'll spend another day in Detroit.
We sure as hell aren't paying for it, so that's fine.
Yeah, this is not my problem.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about this. And I entered my serene state of being completely bust.
See, I'm trying to get better at that. Mm-hmm. I'm not great at that.
I'm pretty good at recognizing when I'm completely helpless.
Yeah. But the chat may not know, in Canada we have an airline called Air Canada, and they're pretty awful just on a basic level. But we also have an airline called WestJet, which is slightly more expensive, but everyone's really nice.
Yeah.
And not in a creepy way. It's just a genuinely good experience and time. And it's just a little bit weird to get on a plane and have people be like, hey, we're going to do a customer service job and actually not...
feel like we've been beaten down by the system,
Did you ever see the video someone made of during the Fort McMurray evacuations last year when the Air Force was just loading people onto like cargo planes?
Really?
One of the I don't know whatever they're called, the people who are responsible for cargo on them was giving like
Loadmaster.
the Loadmaster was giving the like the in-flight safety warnings, and it's full of swears, but you can find it on YouTube, and it's really funny. He's like, in the case of emergency, you can put on their life vest, but I don't really see the point.
Maybe there's a transcript of it we can read with slightly busser words.
And it's super entertaining, and everyone's like laughing, that wonderful nervous laughter of like, we're really not going to die. Everything's going to be fine.
The seaplane people are so nice. I've taken the seaplane twice.
Oh, the seaplane's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're like, there's 6 people on the plane. So
Yeah.
like, whatever.
Have you ever sat up front?
Yeah, the co-pilot
No.
seat. So
You have to ask, and they have to balance it correctly. They really will. They'll move people around
Yeah.
to balance.
I've taken the seaplane over to Vancouver a number of times with my proton pack, which is a scary thing to cram into the back of that plane, but it also almost always guarantees that I get to sit co-pilot because the pilot's just really jazzed that there's a proton pack in their plane.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You got a proton pack? Do you want to sit in the co-pilot seat? And I'm like, yeah, baby, I want to sit in the co-pilot seat.
But no, okay, so I took the seaplane there and back to Desert Bus last year because I had to work most of it. So I take the seaplane there, and the seaplane there was beautiful, it was wonderful, it wasn't scary at all, it was fine. And the seaplane back, the first thing that happens is we get on, and the guy announces that this is one of his first flights that he's doing professionally for this.
All right.
And that he has a co-pilot who is a veteran, like he's a veteran of it. He knows it very well, so like it's all gonna be fine. So the veteran of it sits in the back, and he sits like behind all of us because he's just chilling. And I'm sitting like, oh, it's gonna be fine, everything's cool. And it was really nice outside. So we start flying, and like halfway through, the pilot starts like making these like hurried movements, like slapping the seat next to him, like seemingly trying to look for something, and he's like pushing a bunch of buttons, and I'm like, that doesn't instill confidence. And I think he says like uh-oh, and I'm like, that is not what I want to hear.
I
start frantically searching because I realized I had not done this beforehand. I start frantically searching on my phone because I still had signal. Like, what are the chances you die on a seaplane? It starts coming out with all of these articles like why seaplanes are actually less careful or less safe than you think they are. And I'm like, I literally accept. I'm starting to accept. Like, you know what? I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die here. So he's like, he turns around, he's like, hey, to the co-pilot, hey, could you come up here? And I was like, I'm gonna die. That's what's gonna happen. Like, this is gonna happen. We start getting like it starts vibrating.
Oh, God.
Like the plane starts shaking, and I'm like, yep, okay, this is happening. So I'm like looking out all this stuff, and then I start sitting there like, okay. So I actually accepted it. I was like,
jeez.
I started like texting people. I was so done. Oh my god. And then finally like we land, and I was like, okay, I didn't die. And the scariest part about it is that when you land in Seattle, you go so close to the Space Needle. Oh! You go so close to the Space Needle, and it's so scary. And that was how I accepted my death after Desert Rust. Okay, well, that's my story.
Before we have any more stories.
Did
I actually did.
He has been dead the
This
whole
is my
time.
ghost.